and let us all do we can to build a better future. Daniel, what is going on?
Okay, so we have this very interesting story. I just thought it was like, oh, this is different from the usual police abuse. So we have a video. I'd like to just kind of start with that video, and then we'll do some commentary afterwards. But it's like these are the people that are being hired into the police force. This is the amount of training that they're going through, and this is the result. So.
Topping our news at 6. A new Detroit police officer on the wrong side of the law just hours after graduating the academy. Topping our news at 6, that officer was one of several new recruits who took the oath to protect and serve.
And the graduation ceremony took place Friday morning in downtown Detroit. But we want you to take a look at video from hours later. It shows the officer in a brawl in Greektown. Local 4 Defender Sean Lay joins us live with more on the officer and what happened here. Sean.
We'll walk you through it. We have video of the officer getting his badge from the chief on Friday morning, taking pictures with the chief. Hours later, he was arrested by members of his own department. Those arresting officers reporting that the officer was disruptive and making racial comments after they took him into custody.
Okay then. Okay then.
The local 4 defenders have the video of a Detroit police officer getting into a fight in Greektown at 1:30 Saturday morning. Now look at this. That same officer, only hours before, graduated from the police academy.
I want to give a shout out to the news for backing the cops even in these dark times and making sure that his face is grayed out to protect him in a way that they, of course, wouldn't do for regular citizens. Keep going.
Saluting Chief White, getting his badge and posing for a photo with the chief, and then getting this message.
The department expects your best. This community expects your best. And this community deserves your best.
Let's take you through the video. The officer is on the left in the white t-shirt. He's in his uniform pants, and you can see his new badge. Detroit officers jump in, and the new officer continues to throw punches. Retired Assistant Detroit Police Chief Steve Dolan has never heard of a new officer being arrested by his own department hours after graduation.
As far as I know, it's never happened.
The officer was arrested for disorderly conduct. He's suspended with pay. Arresting officers report that once the new officer was in jail, he was, quote, very disruptive, using profanity and racial comments.
If you're going to do that, you don't need to be on the job. My opinion.
We asked the chief if the officer will be fired immediately.
Okay, pause
This
it.
will not be a heavy lift.
Okay, everyone, time to cast your vote. Is the sheriff going to offer, or the chief going to offer a succinct, clear remark on what's going to happen? B, say the man's going to be fired, because again, in any other profession I could think of, going out to a luncheon and beating up a waiter or whatever is automatic grounds for dismissal? Or is he going to have a word salad answer? We'll let you decide.
We were to pull the video, conduct this investigation, and conclude it in 7 days.
Back here live, the chief added in a statement, I'm extremely disappointed in the behavior and actions of this probationary officer. There's more. We're learning that arresting officers took out a Ziploc bag of pills in the officer's pants. They called them suspected narcotics in a report. We did check them out. They do not seem to be controlled substances at this point.
Thank you, News, for
Also
clarifying
told, however,
for us without evidence in your
very
hand.
interested in what this officer's blood alcohol level was at the time that night in Greektown. We're live tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4.
All right, very upsetting. Thank you, Sean.
Very upsetting, huh?
So
wow.
I want to give another. So let's go back, because I want to always make sure we look when these news stories do this coverage and how they act. So what did they do with this one? They blurred out his face, even though they didn't have to. They put out there to the public. I'm not sure if they had any real evidence, unless the police literally gave them those pills, which is of course evidence tampering. To make the point, like the police are saying in their report, looks like narcotics. Who is the news ever to say in their own words to overturn the police statement by going, like, have you ever heard the news go, yeah, the police said it was marijuana or cocaine or whatever, but we don't think it was. We think the police aren't telling the truth. This is the first time I've heard them say that. The first time I've heard them go down that path is right now. Right now, when it's a officer who hopefully stops being an officer, but this is where they want to defend him in a way that they would not offend other people that they see as guilty. And as far as the police go, this guy has just graduated, and you've had to arrest him a couple days after for attacking a civilian. But you need a 7-day investigation. Tell me in any other job that would happen. If you're a bunch of lawyers going out to a restaurant and one of your new associates that you just brought on the team 3 days ago punches out a waiter or a waitress, do you think that guy's going to get a 7-day review or suspended with pay? If you are a waiter or waitress and you have a very difficult customer and you punch them out, do you think you're going to get a 7-day review or get suspended with pay? Someone tell me a job somewhere in America that you can do this and they'll go, we need to wait 7 days to act on this. I can't think of any other position that exists where these events happen, and yet people still in America's head explode when you go, hey, we need to maybe defund the police or just do something different. Yeah. And it's funny that they can, when these events happen, they can take these, I think, very, very clear events and go, well, it's really murky. I mean, I don't know what the other guy said to him, as if it matters. Also, someone mentioned in the chat before that it's racial comments. No, it's probably racist. You probably mean racist. That's probably the word that you're looking for. You just, again, the third thing you're using to defend him with. So someone tell me where someone else can do this kind of action. I will wait here and I will see. But my guess is this guy's going to be on desk duty for a month and he'll be right back in the force. And in 2 or 3 years, he'll be able to expunge this from his record.
There's a couple of things I want to bring up. And, if I'm wrong about anything, people, please just go ahead, correct me on this. But, we see this footage, and I'm wondering how many other videos are like that out there in the world, and especially here in the United States.
Well, we know there's a lot of them.
There probably is a lot, but I'm wondering, just how bad it truly is. And then number two, even before the time of the social media and cameras, I wonder how many of these incidents have gone unreported.
Probably more.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so then again, at the final statement of that video that was in this article, Daniel, when the news reporter said, it's so upsetting, you want to know what's really upsetting? Is when the victims of police brutality are smeared. And, of course, corporate media, the news agencies, all what they do is constantly, present the cops saying, oh, this was a tragic accident. We didn't mean it to happen. But then again, as the story keeps on unfolding, somehow, some way, someone finds a upsetting image of the victim who was murdered by the police and use that as part of their propaganda.
Yes, we did kill them, but did you know one time he smoked pot?
Or did you know that he made a angry face or attended a rap concert?
Do you know that he held a gun, which is really bad, as we shot people with guns?
Exactly.
I want to remind people, if you consider the police a gang, which I think they're very structurally the same, police kill per capita the same amount of people as the people in America's gang database, which we know is overbloated with a lot of people who are not gang members to start with.
Yeah.
So in all reality, if you actually made the gang database the proper size that it should be, police kill more people than gang members per capita.
And so as we look at this, as we covered this story, as Daniel talked about it, and as we, again, numerous times here at Heartlands Media, we've talked about stories similar to this that are just as bad, just as terrible. Be prepared for next week for us to talk about something similar to this, or some other independent media network to talk about a story that's just as similar as this. And the thing is, when you hear corporate media say, well, why do we need to defund the police? Or why do we need to reorganize? Why do we need to do this? It's fine the way it is. It's fine the way it is. If it's really fine the way it is, let's look at all the stories, all the innocent people who are at risk of this unchecked behavior. The fact that in other countries, and Daniel, how long does it take for a barber to get their license compared to a cop here in the United States?
It takes a beautician 2 months longer to get a license than a cop in America.
And then overseas, it takes 2 years or more.
It's an actual degree.
It's an actual degree.
And by the way, in Europe, you can sue cops directly if they don't do the right thing.
Right.
What an amazing idea. And meanwhile, cops in America can't be fired for the most part. Their unions are if there's one union in America that needs to lose its power is the police union. Let me just say that forthright. Police, they're way too strong politically. So you have that. They get to review all the evidence in a trial or a case against them before making witness statements, which is no one else can do that. If you commit a crime, the police don't show you all the evidence they have against you before asking you questions or asking you to describe what happened at the scene. But police can do that. Police unions can defer all of that stuff. And this is the result.
You know what?
And you can't even sue them.
Our live stream audience, I gotta say, our live stream audience is great because I want to give this shout out and probably the final word to Golden Silence. Maybe you want to comment on it, guys. When the offending cops happens to be black, he gets the book thrown at him. Dave Chappelle told you all about white and black cops in 8 minutes 46 seconds, and if you haven't seen 8 minutes 46 seconds, please check it out. It's Dave Chappelle's great work.
That's a fair point. We know that the way that they're treated internally in that respect is very relevant, and there is a difference. But it's not different enough that the chief of police is like, because we know for the most part when cops start serving for themselves, for the most part, sometimes other people, they usually have a probationary period of 2 years that they have to work through, and in that 2 years' time, that they can be fired for whatever reason. So the fact that I'm sure that is consistent in Detroit, and someone can tell me if I'm wrong on that part specifically, but the fact that this guy just got it, can you imagine if tell me any other circumstance you can just enter a new profession, get arrested after beating someone up with violence, and keep your job, except the people that are supposed to enforce those rules?
Yeah.